We'll also be putting a new camera at main Endeavour Field, so once that's in, people will be able to look at that hydrothermal spot whenever they want through the Ocean Knowers Canada website. Or maybe not whenever we want. I think the cameras get scheduled so they don't burn themselves out. God, someone really didn't want to listen to you, Adrian. I'm looking at my settings here. I'm on your like set to minus 48 dB.
I'm going to blame Sean since he was the last one on shift. Ian didn't want to hear Sean, maybe.
We're at about 2,000 meters. How deep are we going today?
I believe this site is 2,600 and change meters deep. So
Yep.
Not too far away.
Not too far. We have a suggestion from a viewer saying we should try not to lose any equipment this time.
Excellent suggestion, thank you.
What did we lose last time?
Yeah, that's what
I
I
don't
want to know. Yeah, wasn't our shift. We're the dream team over here.
It's good advice, though.
It is good advice.
Is good
Excellent.
advice.
Good
yeah,
advice.
Sure. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Bring back 2 ROVs.
I think it was the crowbar.
Yeah, but that wasn't during the dives that it was lost. It was during...
Yeah, we dropped that from the ship accidentally.
Yeah. We've got a hi everyone from Australia, which I think is like in still, you know, they haven't gone to bed yet. They're nice and far ahead of us time-wise. And then someone in New York City is telling us that we're all awesome.
Oh,
So
thank you.
I like that guy, whoever that is.
Yeah, your city is awesome. I'm sure you are too.
I've never been to New York City.
I've never been to New York City. I'd love
It's
to
amazing. Highly recommend.
Oddly enough, I've been to New York like 7 times, but never to New York City.
Very different places.
Very different from what I can understand. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Mo, I'm very curious. Is there anything you don't like, though?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm a bit of a perpetual optimist over here. But porridge. I really don't like porridge. I won't eat it.
we should go around and let's hear what everyone doesn't like the most.
Yeah, one thing you don't like.
Negativity.
Oh, that's a cheating answer.
Yeah.
I need time to think. So many.
Oh.
We ran out of hot water, I think, the other day when I tried to shower and had to have a cold shower after like a 15-hour shift. I did not like that.
That's understandable.
And no pressure as well.
I've been getting decent pressure, actually.
Are you?
Yeah.
Cold showers have their purpose, but not when you're not expecting them.
Yeah. Most of the time, though, it's been nice and hot.
I think what I don't like is feeling stressed about what you were saying, Nico, feeling stressed about not sleeping and then not sleeping because you're stressed.
Getting in that cycle.
I really don't like that.
That's been happening to me.
Yeah.
Oh, where you go to bed and you're like, I gotta go to sleep.
Yeah,
but you're sleep.
It's so important that I get.
Sleep.
It's so important that I get these few hours in. They never come.
You're not on SPL, Kim.
Maybe. Yeah, I was just saying, amongst things to not like, I don't like getting up in the morning. Or
well, good morning.
Or even particularly the early afternoon. After 1 is good, 2 is better.
You're probably loving these hours right now.
I'm like, getting up at 3 a.m. isn't my favorite thing to do either.
I never liked the 4 to 8 shift. That was always my least favorite shift. If you're gonna do the 4 hours on, 8 hours off, because then you're getting up really early. Like the midnight to 4 a.m. was kind of like I'm staying up late and then I'm gonna go to sleep, and that just mentally works better for me than this idea of getting up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, an easier flip.
I'm okay with 12s at either noon or midnight. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, once you get into it.
But I never liked the 4 to 8. I would take the midnight shift over that any day.
4 to 8's not so bad for me.
It's terrible.
I only have to get up in about an hour or 2 earlier than I normally would, so.
An early person, eh?
Yeah, I'm pretty much an early person, but, you know, I grew up on a farm and the dog that we had would sit on my face if I ever slept in past like 6 or 7, so you learn to just get up.
Right, yeah, that's not the way you want to wake up.
No.
Yeah. There's something I don't like, dogs sitting on your face.
It is a little unpleasant.
Whoa, no, don't be so negative over there. Calm down. When I get up depends on the season. I just tend not to set an alarm. So I just let the sun wake me up. Luckily our work is flexible enough for that, because in the winter I don't roll in until 9:30 or so. Most of the time I don't.
Oh. Let's see. I've never enjoyed flying. It's not about being a nervous flyer or anything. I feel like it's an entire day of waiting. You wait until you have to go to the airport, then you rush, then you wait in line, and then you rush, and then you wait, and then you rush, and then you wait to get on the plane, and then you wait to sit down, and then you wait to get off the plane, and it's just a whole day of waiting, and it's exhausting.
And you breathe stale air all
and the
day.
seats are uncomfortable, and the food sucks.
You know, like you add all the other fun facts about flying, and it gets worse.
And beer is stupid expensive.
Yep.
And generally sucks.
And you get bad experience with
lounge cards.
Yeah.
That's a very important part of the arsenal for the frequent traveler.
And I don't like going through security because it's just like, I've had experiences where like the person obviously was having a bad day and they were making my day a bad day as a result. It's like, come on.
But yeah, and you have to wait to do that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got to wait to do that.
And smile.
Yeah, but you also have to admit that the reason they might be having a bad day is because one of the other travelers was just not doing their thing.
Yeah, but you know, you gotta, I guess with that job, you gotta kind of leave that at the right? You interact with that one traveler, but you shouldn't bring it on to the next one.
I'm not accepting that's entirely true. That I think they screen these people for personality, and if they show any sense of humor or tolerance, they don't get the job.
Patience.
I've had some pretty nice security people that I've gotten to walk past.
Yeah,
there are good ones.
yeah, I've
sure.
had some good ones. Like I was flying back with some people from the boat, and one of them forgot to empty their water bottle. And it was one of those ones that they had had forever. You know, it's just stickers, more stickers than paint at this point. And the security guard was just like, oh, you had to empty that. He's like, just took it, went over, emptied it, you know, handed it back to her. Like that was nice.
Yep.
But then I went through with a separated shoulder, and so I was in like a sling and a brace and everything. And that was when they were doing the scans. You gotta have your arms up. Well, my arm didn't go up. So I was, you know, one arm up, and the guy tried to force my arm up.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
Which was not, you know, it's like not what you want.
I thought you could get that or like a pat down as an alternative.
I lucked out. His supervisor witnessed the whole thing, and her son had recently separated his shoulder. So I, instead of getting in trouble for resisting, which was what was called out, he's resisting.
Wow.
I got scanned and went on my way. But
Something that I've long been curious about is when I travel with my wife, the lovely and talented Mrs. Wallace seems to always be randomly selected for a pat down. Excuse me, we're doing this again?
Yeah,
It just doesn't seem very random.
those totally
It's not
randomized.
Yeah.
They always want to search my hair. Like whether I have it up or down, they'll be like, can we feel your hair? And I'm like, sure, whatever. There's nothing there.
You do have great hair.
it was years and years ago, but I had a pair on a pair of those, like those 5-finger, those toe shoes. And I had a security
then you deserve
guard
to be searched.
wiggle each one of my toes individually, which was
You wore those for travel?
quite a weird experience.
You wore those
Didn't
for
hate
travel?
it.
Where's your dignity, man?
I like that years ago. Somewhere in Turkey or someplace. I have a pair of Zero shoes now that I use for travel, and they're super comfortable.
And just like the bare minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like wearing slippers, except they have laces.
Huh.
I figure if I'm going to be waiting, I better be comfortable. Yeah, it was so weird, just like both little toes at the same time, and then like moved in and wiggled the next one.
This little piggy
they
went to
do?
market.
Yeah, did they do the song for you?
No song.
They're just really bored and they're like, ooh, this looks entertaining.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
So we've got a question about that reference bar, Nico. Instead of using a metal one, could you not design a laser pointer that could work on an incremental scale for accuracy?
Whoa, I'm not sure if I understand the question.
I think I understand the question. I mean, you can just make out the two green lines on the screen. Those are lasers. They are exactly 10 centimeters apart, and they're tested out to, oh, I don't know, probably almost 10 meters, trying to keep that 10 centimeter. However, when it comes to the stereo imagery that Chris does, we use
Sound-based.
whatever Chris asks us to use, and this is what Chris wanted. The other thing, if you have the lasers, then the lasers are in every single one of the shots. If you have the bar, then you actually would have just the, once he gets everything spaced out and the offset's taken care of, then you can have the images without the bar in them. I mean, you could remove the lasers in post too.
More work.
There's also just sometimes the low tech is best.
So when we have this 3D model chimney, what do we do with it? Is it used for training somehow or research?
No, we're using it to survey in this particular case, using it to survey in our new fetch transponder in relation to the old one. So they want super pinpoint accuracy of the distance between the devices once we move them in close.
I was thinking about hydrothermal vents. Aren't we using this or photogrammetry to make a 3D model of
I defer to Mo on this one.
Yeah, so
Cool.
basically that's the first step in mapping. What I'm doing is after we get the base layer, which is just the geological stuff, I'm going to put a layer over that pertains to microbial genetic diversity and novelty. So I'm using data from Dr. Cheryl Murdoch, who's also in the Juniper lab, that she did with her thesis, a whole bunch of metagenomics, placing that over our base level. So what we're trying to do is see the difference between Grotto and Dudley in a time series way, so 2015 and 2021. And I'm sorry, I keep saying Dudley because it's mislabeled on C2, but it's Dante. And then also trying to see the difference between the two edifices in terms of human usage, because Grotto is visited all the time. It's where we have all our instruments set up, and Dante is fairly left alone. And then there's also the difference in the two of them in terms of activity. In 2015, Dante had about 20 active black smoker chimneys, and Grotto only had one. Yeah, does that kind of explain?
I think so. So you're like doing like a GIS only on a chimney.
Yeah, to see the differences in the two with their microbial, based on the different factors that they have, like human usage and the level of inactivity versus activity, to see how those two things affect the microbial genetic diversity and novelty on those two edifices. And then that'll be used in the entirety of my thesis, which is all about how deep sea mining may affect these microbial communities.
So Mo, how will we get to see your results? Will they be published on Nautilus or ONC?
Oh, the results of this survey?
Of the stuff you're doing?
You mean my entire thesis? Check back in 4 years.
Oh boy.
Because right now I'm a master's student, but we're working on transferring up to PhD with this project. So I'll be able to tell you where our data is going to be stored in maybe a year or two. We haven't decided yet.
And you're doing your master's and now possible PhD at UVic, right?
Yes, University of Victoria on Vancouver Island in Canada, under Dr. Kim Juniper. I might be his last student. I don't think he's taking any new students, but he's an amazing person and an amazing supervisor, so highly recommended.
You got in just in time then, huh?
Oh yeah, I hunted him for over a year though. I was like determined.
I've been hearing from friends and family back in Victoria that they're all sitting around sweating. Sounds very hot.
They're having another heat wave?
Yeah, it was like 38, 39 degrees or something today.
Is it smoky in Victoria too? I know it is in Vancouver, but I'm not sure about Victoria.
Susan said you could smell it, but it wasn't grim. Not a lot at ground level.
So we've got a question for everyone to give a chance to answer. So what do you guys, are we most hoping to see while we're going down, and what are we least hoping to see? So most hoping to see, I don't know, anything that'll pop in front of the camera and let us like take a look at it for longer than 3 seconds.
Yeah, are we talking at this site in particular?
I think it's this site in particular.
I gotta say, it's a little flat and not terribly interesting on the bottom here. So some interesting